Today we're just kind of sitting back as brothers, just gonna kind of spill our guts on who we are, where we came from, and some things that we've been through, and we'll just see where the synergy flows and what happens with the whole podcast and what kind of clips we can get from this or whatever. But we have a long storied history, man, of wins and losses and lessons. We've been around the world, both of us, to multiple different countries. How are you feeling now being back home again for the umpteenth number of times from traveling all over the place and living back in Dallas?
It's kind of hit or miss, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I do miss places that I've been to, obviously South Africa.
Yeah.
Had a blast out there. Would love to get out to Japan, obviously, which but it's nice being back around family.
Tell us all where you've been so far. Where has Amazon sent you in the last 10 years or so?
So far, Amazon has moved me to Seattle twice. I've got to go to New York to be part of a pop-up loft. I've gone to India to do a week of training. I've been to Cape Town, South Africa for 2 weeks of training and content development. I think last month I was out in Mexico.
Did you say India?
Yeah. Yeah, I was out in Bangalore for a week.
Out of all those places, what's been the best and the worst place? I guess we gotta kind of cut that up because you've traveled to some places, but you've lived in a couple of different places. So, best place you've traveled to? I think I know this answer.
Best place that I've traveled to would probably be Cape Town.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to fly 14 hours to drive an hour to go jump out of a plane in a different country.
I don't understand why people jump out of perfectly good planes.
It was honestly a blast. I've never felt anything like it since.
What was that feeling before you jumped? So you're flying up. What's the altitude they took you to?
I don't remember the exact altitude. I think it was 13,000 feet or something.
It's pretty fucking high.
Yeah. The whole time I was in the plane, honestly, I was very chill. I didn't think about anything. I was just like, here we go. We're going to do it. Whatever happens, happens. It wasn't until I actually opened the door and put my legs out and my leg kind of like shot out.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, this is actually about to happen. But as soon as I jumped out of the plane, it was like everything else in the world stopped.
Yeah.
Like my anxiety went away.
Really?
It was just pure bliss.
So you're kind of like this clip here, huh?
Best we came up with, sir, is like, fuck it.
Right?
Yeah, pretty much. I went with a friend of mine at the time who was a actual skydiver.
Yeah, you said he did a lot, huh?
Yeah.
Like thousands of hours worth of jumps.
Yeah, he even broke a plane. His parachute launched early. It pulled him out of the plane. He ripped the back of the plane off, broke his back, recovered perfectly, and is still skydiving. And
wait, his parachute got caught in a plane or something?
Yeah, I don't know how it happened. He told me, but if I'm being honest, I forgot.
Yeah.
But basically, it pulled him out of the plane. He got stuck, pulled off the back of the tail end of the plane.
Yeah.
And then the pilot actually was able to still land the plane.
Most people would have said, nah, dude, I'm never doing that again. I would probably be in that category. And you spent how long in South Africa?
2 weeks.
Did it feel like it went by quick?
It did, and it didn't. Most of the time was spent working for Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, I did get to go hike up Table Mountain. Got to meet a lot of cool people. This would have been 2018, back when they were in day zero, like no water at all.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I totally remember that. That was a bad drought or something like that.
Yeah, I think they had like a 7-year drought or something, and it got so bad to the point where, like, you were bathing out of water bottles.
Been there, dude. Yeah, man. I mean, baby wipes were my best friend when I was in the Corps, dude. Like when we got our bi-monthly mail, because being in the middle of nowhere, you get mail every 2 months. People would send us Copenhagen baby wipes, jerk mags, stupid shit like that. You know what I mean?
Life before the internet.
Man, it was crazy. So after South Africa, you came back home to where? Where was home?
After South Africa, I was still in Dallas. I think I was here for 2 or 3 months and then got shipped to India to train them. India was by far my worst trip.
Why is that?
So I was originally supposed to be flown to Japan, which again, always wanted to go to Japan.
I think I remember you telling me that, yeah.
But it was actually a punishment from Amazon because I was leaving the team at the time. And instead of going to where I was actually requested by Amazon personnel,
Yeah.
like, oh, go train in India where we don't have coverage. I get there. The office was dealing with multiple power issues because it was a brand new build.
Yeah.
I got trapped in an escalator or elevator.
No thanks.
Due to all of the tattoos and the culture there, I had people rubbing on my arms thinking it was like pencil or pen. So a little uncomfortable there.
Yeah.
That was back when I was drinking a lot of Red Bull, so I couldn't find any in the office. So I walked to a little convenience store. I got in trouble for that because...
Wait, you got in trouble for leaving like campus, so to speak?
They're like, oh, you're going to get kidnapped. And I'm like, they'll bring me back. Don't worry.
Wait, so they were concerned about Americans being kidnapped in India?
Yeah.
Wow, that shit takes place over there too, huh?
I guess. I mean, everyone kind of ignored me the whole time I was there, which was fine with me. But I'm also not going to sit there and just drink water. Like, I need to change it up a bit.
Well, I don't think you would just let someone kidnap you either. You'd probably fight back a little bit. They're going to have a one hell of a time to fucking kidnap me. I promise you that, especially if I'm running around with a pocket knife and a pistol on my hip. It's going to be a gunfight, and we're going to go down.
Yeah, no, I mean, thankfully the places that I've been have always been in nicer areas.
Yeah.
So I've never really considered that to be a threat. But also, I feel like with how I walk around here in Dallas or in the States, like there's a higher likelihood of me getting mugged, robbed, assaulted, anything like that than me going overseas.
I think this shit happens all over the place, man. I mean, I've been in a whole bunch of different countries myself, and you have to have your head on a swivel no matter where you're at. Mesquite, Dallas, India, South Africa, wherever it is, because the world we live in now is not like it was when we were kids by any stretch. I mean, hell, even 10 years ago, So coming back from India, you came back home to Dallas, if I recall.
I think I was here for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then that's when I moved out to Seattle. And then I spent 3 years there the first time.
Yeah.
And then moved to Austin.
That was a quick stint.
Yeah.
You weren't down there very long.
No, I think I was down there like 6 or 8 months, and then Amazon kind of hung a carrot over my head, and we're like, oh, hey, we'll give you a promo if you move back to Seattle. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. And then I get out there, and they're like, oh, we actually don't have an opening for that role. So
did you enjoy anything about Seattle?
I actually like Washington State.
The state itself?
The state itself is fantastic. Seattle itself is, unfortunately, due to drug use and homelessness, like it's pretty sketchy nowadays.
I mean, that's a consistent theme throughout, unfortunately, the whole West Coast, man, all the way down, Oregon, Northern California. I mean, the things I've seen and read about San Francisco in the last 5 to 6 years is pretty gnarly stuff, man.
No, it's unfortunate. A lot of the tech hubs that we have, like Seattle, San Diego, like even Denver now, and Austin, you bring in these high-paid engineers, making six figures, if not more, and they push out the lower class, which then brings the homelessness. And then you factor in drug use to cope with the homelessness. And it's just a spiral at that point.
It's here in Dallas, man. I mean, we go to shows all the time, and Kaden and I are down there all the time too. And there's a section of downtown Dallas that's like right outside of where there's a homeless shelter, and obviously it gets packed, and people, it's at capacity or whatever. I remember leaving, I believe it was a Mavericks game, maybe late last year or something like that, man. And I've seen it. I've known about it. I understand homelessness. We both kind of understand homelessness, which we can talk about too. But there was probably 85 to 100 people just chilling in a parking lot, sleeping in a parking lot, dude. It was crazy, man. So at your lowest point and at your highest point with Amazon, what keeps you there? I mean, you've been there how long now? 10 years?
It'll be 8 years.
Almost 10.
Yeah, it'll be. I mean, if I would have stayed instead of leaving Amazon to go work for Adobe, it would be about 10 years.
That's why. Okay, so I forgot the Adobe stint there.
Amazon is a very hard company to work for, in the sense of it's a lot of work. It's not where
it's a massive company.
Yeah, well, it's not like you're slinging Starbucks.
Yeah,
I am constantly jumping between 6 different roles. So it's easy to get overwhelmed. But also, I'm a glutton for punishment. So those 6 roles keep me and my ADHD in check.
Yeah.
So I can somewhat focus.
What's the upside to Amazon?
The upside would be that I get to travel on someone else's dollar.
You just went to Mexico. Tell us about that.
Mexico was a lot of fun. I went down there for a summit to meet the rest of my team.
Is that a week-long trip?
Yeah, it was a week-long trip. I flew in, I think, on a Sunday. We went to I think it's the capital. I unfortunately don't know any of the locations we went.
Yeah.
Hung out with all the locals there, trained them, as well as doing back-to-back meetings, 8 hours a day, nonstop. And
So
then,
beating.
yeah, and then immediately after all those meetings, we would go out and do more dinner. The team would drink. Went to see a Lucha Libre match, which was fucking insane.
Yeah,
I'd
I
go back
bet.
in a heartbeat.
Just for that, huh?
Yeah, just for the Lucha Libre. Again, I have no clue what the people were yelling while I was there, but
It probably didn't even matter, dude.
it made it 10 times better.
Yeah. The food, amazing.
I miss the food.
Yeah. Well, you
Like-
can't miss the food. You were there for a week.
I still miss it. Our food sucks.
It was there.
Yeah.
I think goes without saying, dude, in America, man, the shit that is consumed by people and the things that we put in our body, you won't see it around the world, man. There's countries that have banned 50% of the food that we eat here, and it's insane to even think about the shit that we put in our body.
No, all of ours are like processed nonsense. Whereas when I was in Mexico, like I was eating fresh cut fruit every morning. I mean, mind you, I was in a 5-star resort or
But to say,
hotel.
yeah, not all
Like,
Mexicans are eating like that down there.
no. So I was getting really good food,
Mm-hmm.
but to be able to like wake up, have fresh fruit, walk a mile into the office. Obviously our food there was catered. The food that they catered in was not great.
Never is.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
when we would go out for actual meals afterwards,
Mhm.
like it just all felt fresh and clean.
Yeah.
Versus like if you go to, like I won't go to McDonald's, but after you eat something like that, you just feel sluggish and greasy.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel good.
Yeah, Kate and I were just talking about that the other day. It's one of my least favorite things when I travel for business is going somewhere, enjoying a conference or getting trained on whatever, and then it's like, it's lunchtime, and then they bring out this like horse shit food. And you're like, dude, I could have ate better at 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
And it's always at the Hiltons or always at the hotels where they just give you this crap fucking food every time, man. It's terrible. So when you think about your time at Amazon and how that relates to the things you've been through in your life, let's kind of rewind back. You just had a birthday this year, which, I mean, that was last month.
Yeah,
Put
they don't
you
stop
at-
coming.
Yeah, puts you at what age?
38, I think.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Fuck, I'm about to be 44. It's crazy. Let me ask you a question, man. And we'll dive into some of the things that we went through in our past here. And we'll kind of start with, we'll fast forward all the way so we have a kind of a benchmark. When I joined the Marine Corps, I was barely 18 years old. That puts you at what, 11, 12 years old?
Yeah, there's 6-year difference between
Yeah.
us. So I would have been in 6th grade at the time.
Okay. So there was definitely a portion of our lives that really didn't click because I was so much older than you, over here in high school doing my own thing, and you were over here in elementary school still. Take me back to that time, if you can remember that far back. What was it like when Big Brother left?
I mean, when you originally left, I don't think it really impacted me as much because, like you mentioned, we weren't super close. Like
Yeah.
the 6-year age gap,
It's a big gap, man.
we never aligned. I was always kind of in my room playing video games, and if I'm being transparent, I never felt like part of the family, in the sense of
Really?
I was different, and I mean I'm still different, and that's okay.
Makes you
took
who you
me-
are.
Yeah, it took me a long time to kind of be okay with, I'm not the sports guy.
Mhm.
I'm not the car guy or anything like that. Like through and through, I'm a fucking nerd. Like
Yeah, you hear that guy?
Um,
Yeah.
like I've never had a lot of friends, so I resorted to video games.
Mhm.
And I actually learned how to read by playing Final Fantasy. Because
Well, you went to school, so you
Well,
learned
I
how to
mean-
read in school.
But my vocabulary and things like that, I'd be playing Final Fantasy and I'd be like, I don't know what the fuck that word is. Let me write it down, and then
Yeah.
I'd go to school and like a nerd.
So you kind of broaden your horizons with different terminologies through video games.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. Because if you ask me, the school system's broken. You kind of felt like you were an outsider in your own family.
I did. I mean, our parents never really kind of paid attention.
Yeah, they were kind of preoccupied with other things.
That's a good way of putting it. But I mean, again, I was different. I wanted to read. I wanted to play video games, and our family was go outside, play sports, like all American hero kind of, early 90s style.
That was part of the world then for sure. Yeah.
And that's never been me. I mean, I'll go outside and hang out. Like, I'll spend time on my patio and stuff, but I've never been the type that's like, I'm going to go outside and, I don't know, hang out at a pool or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Normally it would be, I'm going to go skateboard to escape the chaos that our family brought about.
Yeah. That's a good term to use. Man, when you think about the chaos that we went through, dude, it's hard to put it into words. I think one of the biggest things that hit me was after I moved back home, it had been a few years, I was traveling down Highway 80, and I saw that hotel on the side of the highway. And I hadn't thought about this, Brandon, in 20 years, dude. It's been forever, right? Maybe not 20 years, but and then I saw that hotel, and I remember the guy trying to kill himself by jumping off the second floor with a rope around his neck. The rope was too long, so he bounced off the ground. He had this gnarly, cut line around his neck. Like, he obviously didn't succeed at his suicide attempt. And then the next day, he's walking around the hotel. Mind you, this is while we're living in that fucking hotel. What are your thoughts there? What do you remember about that?
I don't remember a lot of that section. I mean, really? I know we were kind of in and out of hotels, but in the grand scheme of thing, as bad as it sounds, I've been through way worse than that one incident.
We lived there for a while. That was pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, I do remember slicing my hand on a metal fan at some point. I still think about that.
Where'd you do that?
In the hotel room, because it didn't have the front cover on it.
Of like the air conditioner unit or something?
No, we had a actual like oscillating fan at some point.
Oh, so the front was off of the fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the fuck, man?
Childproofing was never a thing for our family.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude. There's so much to unpack, dude, with our childhood, man. I mean, like, where do you start to undig the trauma of having a family that, and this goes far past our mom and our dad, man. This goes back lineage to great-grandparents and uncles, moms and dads and great-uncles and all that stuff. It seemed like, as a kid, everybody except grandma and papa were addicted to something. Like, there was always drugs, there was always alcohol, there was always a fight, there was always a domestic something going on in our home. To me, it never really truly felt like there was any stability.
No, I'll agree with that. Even to this day, like, I struggle with finding stability.
I would agree with that.
I move around because I get bored.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, fuck it, I'll go to Seattle, I'll go to Denver, I'll go to Austin.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really have anything that keeps me in one spot.
Do you feel like you're finding anything that keeps you in one spot now as you get older?
I do. One of the main reasons why I left Denver was to be around family and friends.
Yeah.
I spent 2 years out there and didn't really get a chance to meet people due to other circumstances. So it is nice to get back and kind of have the familiar grounds again. Like, there are still some places that I actively avoid just to, not bring up those bad memories.
Mm-hmm.
But it's easier now to kind of sort through all of those memories and realize that I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for the absolute shit show that we went through.
Well, it makes sense because everybody's journey is different and everybody's journey is what makes them who they are. What's one point in a fucking million that we could bring up? What's one defining moment? And at what age do you think that was where things started to click for you to say, I can't continue to live in the past while I'm trying to move forward? Do you have one of those yet?
I don't think I do. Yeah, I can't think of anything right off the top of my head, but I know that I actively avoided drugs and alcohol because I didn't want to be like our family.
Not me. I'd fucking dove headfirst into them.
Like, No, I mean, I remember living from paycheck to paycheck as a kid and not being able to afford, basic necessities because our parents would be at the liquor store buying beer every night or sitting in the back room smoking weed nonstop and forgetting that we existed.
Yeah. Shit, I can't even I can't even quantify the number of hours that we were home alone or by ourselves or I mean, I hate to say it like this because there are certain points of mom and dad where we definitely ate dinner every night. Even if we were homeless, we figured out a way to eat. But there's a point where I kind of feel like we raised ourselves in an instance, you know? And at this stage in my life, I feel like, yeah, I've been on my own since I was like 17, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, since probably 16, 17,
Yeah.
I've had to kind of do my own thing.
Fend for yourself.
I mean, I think one of the lowest points for me was being homeless and having to sell drugs to be able to afford even like basic food, like Taco Bell. Like I would work a job and then that money would have to go to bills because at the time mom wasn't working.
So you were actually working and selling what, weed, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Selling some weed just to make some money, and mom wasn't working, so you were kicking down all that money just so you guys had a place to call a roof over your head?
Yeah, I mean, I've slept in my car. I would couch surf at friends' houses during high school. Like I didn't have a home.
And what age were you?
This would have been 17.
What year? Put a year perspective for me there.
2004, 2005.
So this was even after I got out of the Marine Corps. That's probably when you ended up coming to live with me.
I lived with you at 15 when I was going to Oceanside High School. And then mom moved out for a little bit, hated it,
Yeah.
and then took me back.
Yep.
And then we got back. She didn't have a job.
Uh-huh.
She was living off of dad's disability checks or child support,
Yeah.
rather.
Well, I mean, for the listeners, I highly advise against letting your 15-year-old child live with your 22-year-old drug-addicted and alcohol-addicted older sibling in San Diego.
No,
Because we had some fun, but it was a terrible fucking idea for you to live with me. Would you agree?
Oh, 100%. You just turned 21. I was 15. I have been kicked out of more bars.
I was probably 22 because I'd got out in the Marine Corps already.
No, you were still in the Marine Corps.
I was still in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because I was living with Nick.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's even worse. Yeah.
Yeah, you
So just 21, you're living with me at 15. What a fucking shit show that was.
Yeah, mom didn't really think that one through.
No, dude. Man. But you got wasted for your first time on the beach, beyond belief. You got your first tattoos with me. There's a lot of firsts that we accomplished together, but they were all negative influences. Would you agree?
I mean, I got my first 2 tattoos by going to the tattoo shop, and Nala was so impressed at me being able to beat him and everyone in the shop playing video games that they're
Yeah.
like, "We'll tattoo you." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Fuck it, why not?"
What a way to make friends, right?
Yeah.
So all that time you spent being a nerd in the bedrooms, it made you some friends in San Diego. Now Nala, dude, that guy was insane, man. A little backstory on him: he's an insanely talented artist that I had met in the Oceanside area just through music and tattoos and drugs and the whole fucking world like that or whatever. But tattooed myself, tattooed my brother, but also was living with me at a certain point in a bedroom upstairs where I swear to God, it was like a dungeon, dude. He had critters and lizards and spider. It was the freakiest shit ever. And he would come out like every 4 days after a fucking drug bender, and you wouldn't see him for a month. It was insane, man.
Yeah, I remember it was a giant Komodo dragon.
Yeah, nasty fucking things.
Yeah. You also had poison dart frogs back then, though.
Yeah, I did. Yep.
Yeah.
I have those tattooed on my legs now. It's one of my favorite animals. I don't know why. It just kind of stuck with me. I think it has a lot to do with the whole frog juice story of being a kid drinking coffee. But so we're 15. You're living with your crazy old brother. And what's going through your head at that point, man? You're walking back and forth to school because my ass wouldn't come pick you up. I remember those days.
Yeah, no, I remember getting to school, and then I'd stop by the coffee shop after school to get a panini. And then I would go to the skate park, and I would do that for an hour, 2 hours every day. And then Sherman would pick me up, and then I'd go to Halo Sounds.
Yeah.
And then that's where I would unofficially work, collecting money from all the douchebags doing
Yeah.
music stuff. And then I think either he would take me back home or you would come back and pick me up, and then I'd do the same thing the next day.
Yeah, Halo Sound Studios, man. That place was cool because that's where I got my music start, right? That's where I got my drug addiction, if I'm being honest. That's where I was still in the Marine Corps when I started jamming with the guys over there. And Sherman was cool. He wouldn't let me do drugs while I was still in, which I respect a lot because that probably could have ruined everything for me. But I'm telling you, man, when I got out in October, somewhere around there of 2003, it was like full bore. Like, oh, Hefe's out, man. We can feed him the coke and the meth and the shrooms and the fucking pills and you name it, man. There's hundreds and hundreds of times I don't remember or even recall leaving that studio and finding myself at home some days. So that place was a blessing and a curse, that's for sure. What's your best memory of that place?
It's where I learned how to play drums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On Anthony's kit.
Was it Anthony's kit?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I remember everyone being shocked that I was doing like double kick on a single kick.
Yeah, hefty set dude, bald head, Anthony.
I think so.
Insane drummer, by the way. Yeah, insane drummer. Did you find yourself partaking in any drugs and alcohol at that place that I didn't know about?
No. I actually didn't feel comfortable enough smoking weed until I got at Amazon. And then I felt, and again, after I started Amazon, I went to therapy. I saw a psychiatrist. So I finally felt like I could shed some of the weight of our family.
Yeah.
And be like, I can give it a shot and see how it feels and know that I'm comfortable with saying I don't actually need this.
You could give what a shot?
Smoking weed.
Oh, I see. So you were so get away from me with the drugs and alcohol because of the trauma of the past where you kept it at bay just because of the history.
Yeah, no, I never really cared for drinking. Obviously I did it with you for a year or two and was like, fuck all this. But I stayed away from smoking weed because I didn't want to be like our family.
Yeah.
Because I know you did it a lot. Our family did it a lot.
Yeah.
And I never wanted to live paycheck for paycheck. And I was always especially worried that I would end up like the rest of everyone. And that weighed on me my whole life. So I never wanted to be around it. I would stop talking to people that did it because I didn't feel comfortable with myself.
Yeah.
To not do it.
Man, listening to you, I felt the same way. I didn't want to follow that same path. I didn't want to be them. I didn't want to duplicate the process and be who I became. But somehow, some way, I ended up being just as bad, if not worse, with my addictions to drugs and alcohol and women and even being abusive. I mean, I was a very angry drunk, which should have been like red flag fucking number one, right? With the past that we had with, the domestic violence and the shit that we've saw, from our father with our mother. And I mean, not even with just them, but with our uncles and our aunts. Like we saw it too, in that aspect. So I fell face first into it, man. And I was just powerless over it, dude, for a very long time. So I commend you for kind of sticking outside of that. I tell Caden all the time, you got two ways, dude, that you're going to end up. You're going to end up like your uncle or you're going to end up like me. So choose wisely when you're around these new people you're meeting when drugs and alcohols, present themselves.
I kind of feel like it did set me back in some ways.
How so?
Only in the sense of like not that I'm sad about it or anything like that. Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff that people will talk about and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Because I just distanced myself so far from all of that.
Oh, you feel like I feel now when it comes down to drinking. I don't know what's out there now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
17 years clean. When people talk about drinks, I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Like the only thing that I will drink is I'll do some sake from time to time.
Yeah.
But that's if I'm like eating sushi or if I'm cooking wagyu or something like that.
But you've done it in moderation.
Yeah.
Right. And even after you said, okay, I'll try some weed or I'll try some drink, whatever it may be, you never let it suck you in, which I have massive amounts of respect for you for, dude. So good shit for not letting it suck you into that life.
I mean, I fell into it pretty hard when I moved back to Dallas this last time. Like
Explain.
I was smoking weed all day long.
Okay, well,
like, even during work, which is not good.
Let me
I'll be
ask you a
honest.
question though. If you had to say one was worse than the other, and you had a child that was 18, like myself, would you rather find out he's smoking weed or would you rather find out he's drinking alcohol?
Weed every day.
Okay.
Because if I get high, you know what I do? I sit on my patio and I'll listen to an audiobook. Like I
Play
just,
some video games, yeah.
yeah. But I've lost so many people in my life to drunk driving.
Yeah.
So I don't see why drinking is socially acceptable when you go out and you can drive and, accidentally fuck up and ruin someone else's life.
The entire family's life.
Yeah. And like one of my worst points in San Diego when I was living with you was a good friend of mine, Lauren. Like I had just reconnected to her.
Yeah, she was from here, right?
Yeah, she was from Mesquite.
I remember her.
I reconnected to her after 8 years of not knowing where she's at. And then that night, her boyfriend got in a car wreck and she passed away. He lived.
And so you were disconnected for years and you finally reconnected, and that around that same time was when Lauren passed away, right?
Oh, it was that night.
That's fucking heavy, dude. Yeah. How'd that make you feel?
That sucked.
That's a stupid fucking question. I know how it made you feel. How did it make you feel knowing that a good friend, because you guys were great friends,
Oh, yeah.
was right there and reach again to reestablish that connection, and then it was taken away from you? Empty?
Yeah, it sucked because, we went through so much growing up that I'm just so used to people disappearing now.
Yeah.
You know?
So you have zero expectations for people now, I bet.
I'm working on it.
I don't get it. Look, dude, I have had to learn the hard way to not expect anything from everybody or anybody, because all you're doing when you expect shit from people is you're letting yourself down. And that's a battle within itself. You know what I mean? So from the older brother to you, I would just give you my recommendation was to be stop expecting shit from anybody, dude, at all.
No, I agree. I think one thing that I struggle with the most is like you said, people will let you down
100% of the time, if not 99.
But at the same time, people do need, I don't want to say to be trusted, but given a chance to prove themselves.
I agree with that.
There's been so many times where people look at me, I don't look my age at all.
No, you look like fucking 14 years old still.
Yeah, I went to a shop yesterday and they're like, oh, you look like you might not even be 21. I need to see your ID. And I'm like, I fucking wish,
I would venture to say that Caden looks older than you, dude.
Oh,
and he's
100%.
18.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of times where people discredit me because I look a lot younger. And, now I'm covered in tattoos.
Yeah.
I usually have ridiculous hairstyles. So no one pays attention to me.
That could be a pro and a con too, though, man. I know a lot of people that always want the limelight, always to look at me. And, it's like the loudest person in the room is the weakest kind of thing. There's a strength to being the quiet person in the room that's composed, that's tactful, that has their shit together, that can be the most powerful person in the room sometimes.
No, I agree. But I think it's especially in my professional world, I've had to work 10 times harder than anyone else.
Yeah.
Because I look like a child.
At a certain point though, how do you get to the point where you're like, okay, that is just who I am and I'm just going to move forward?
It took me a long time.
Yeah.
Now I find it humorous. I'll go into a classroom at Amazon.
Yeah.
Looking the way that I do. And people are like, oh, well, the trainer's not here yet. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I'm training. And they're like, do you even work here? I'm like, yeah, I've been here a lot longer than you guys have.
So you're finding that to get past the judgment, you're using humor in it.
I'm a pretty morbid person, let's be honest.
I think both of us are.
Yeah. We've been through hell and back.
Yeah.
So I do crack some very dark jokes that I will say, and I'm like, oh, shit, normal people don't talk like that.
What's crazy, dude, is I thought we were morbid, and then I got around Marines, and I was like, dude, I'm nothing compared to these guys. So now I got our history plus being the Marine Corps history, dude. There's some things I have to even step back and not say in public because I'm like, I know 95% of the people in this room are going to take that as this guy's an insane dude.
No, and with our background of domestic violence and abuse and stuff like that, I'll make domestic violence jokes, not even realizing it.
Yeah.
because it's just so ingrained into who I was. I mean, there's so much that happened when we were growing up that I don't even know if I remember all of it.
Let me ask you this. Is there one moment in time that you felt in our family was the actual lowest point? Or is there too many to count?
The lowest point for me was when they implemented the area codes. Because it used to be, 20, 30 years ago, you didn't have to do an area code.
Yeah, now you're dating us, homeboy.
Well, I remember watching Dad beat Mom, and I was standing in the hallway holding the phone, not knowing, do I have to dial an area code to contact the police?
Yeah.
And I just sat there completely helpless watching it happen because I didn't know what to do.
Fuck, man.
I would have been in elementary school. This would have been 98, 99.
That had to have been after I was gone. So it had to have been 99, 2000.
Actually, no, you were probably still around because that was before the whole shit show where Dad destroyed the whole house.
Dude, I'll fucking never forget that, man. Let me paint a picture for the folks listening to this. Probably the nicest house we had been in. We're in, my senior year. Single story home. We both had our own rooms. Brandon had his. I had mine. Mom and Dad had theirs. We finally felt like it was, okay, maybe things are normal. Behind the curtain, there wasn't a fucking thing normal about our family at all. Still, it was putting lipstick on a pig or whatever. I remember walking in the door that day with Leo, one of my best childhood friends in that time. The entire house looked like a tornado went through it. TV's on the ground, every memento that you can think of, knick-knack, fucking pulled off the wall, smashed to the ground, clothes in the closet, oil poured all over them. I mean, the shit is just insane to think about that actually we lived through that. You got any? It's hard for me to put that into words, dude. I was so fucking embarrassed when I walked in with my friend that day.
Dude, there are times where I still hear the crashing of glass.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Like seeing him lift up a metal chair and shatter our kitchen table. I mean, kitchen tables shouldn't be glass to begin with. Like, it's just asking for a bad time.
Yeah, in our Skinner family, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's when I started to have to make excuses to go stay at friends' house so that, like, I had a place to stay because it wasn't safe to be home.
Man. I guess I never correlated that to who I am now and who I was through my Marine Corps career, because I think you moving from city to city to city all the time, I was very much the same thing in the Marine Corps where I didn't know stability. I never knew stability, and all of a sudden I had a stable environment in the Marine Corps, and I was just like, anytime something came up to leave the norm, training, exercise, deployment, whatever, I say, send me.
Oh, yeah, you jumped on it because you're not used to sitting still.
Fuck no, and I'm still that way, dude, you know?
No, and it's definitely part of who I am. I mean, I move every year, like, if not every 6 to 8 months.
Yeah. I hope that settles down for you, dude, because I really hope that the peace finds you in that area because, I mean, since you moved home this last time, I think we've spent more time together than we ever have in our life, and it's amazing, you know, lunches and shows and hanging out and talking more. We've probably communicated more since you've been home than any other years in our relationship, and we're, 38 years into this, so.
No, I would agree. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to move back.
For sure.
Like, I was tired of being isolated.
Yeah.
I mean, I had someone in Denver at the time, but I didn't have my friends. I didn't have family. Like, I was completely in Denver for one person.
When you look back at that Denver experience, knowing what you know now, were you there for you or were you there for her?
I was there for her. I thought that would bring me peace. And in a way it did, but it also brought more heartbreak.
Do you feel like you got any clarity out of that situation?
I'm still working through it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, through chaos is clarity, man. So talking through it, hopefully it'll help you out a little bit, but I have a different outlook on it. in regards to I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I have no idea what your heart was going through, your head was going through, but I'm pretty sure that you may not see it now, but you probably learned some pretty heavy life lessons.
Oh, I learned a lot from it. I am not going to be the kind of person that's like, oh, I wish I would have never done it.
For
like,
sure.
No, I'm happy that I did it. I'm happy that I gave it a shot. I learned a lot about it myself, what I want out of life, and what I won't tolerate anymore.
Yeah.
So it's been good to kind of find my voice again and understand the boundaries that I need to set and not lose myself for someone else.
What are 2 things you think you take away from the last 5 years of your life that you don't tolerate or won't tolerate anymore?
I won't tolerate anyone mistreating my dog ever again.
As she's sleeping over here on the other seat.
Yeah.
Fucking lazy mutt.
But I also had to find my voice. Like, I've always been very quiet in the sense of, like, I don't want to cause conflict. I don't want to start drama or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it's honestly hurt me in the long term because I've never set those boundaries that say, hey, I'm not going to allow you to do this anymore.
Do you feel like you don't want to cause drama or you don't want to say this thing that needs to be said because of the past, or are you kind of like the way I am where it's like you and I have talked about this before. I'm at a place in my life where I have zero desire to fuck with people who I just don't align with anymore.
In this instance, it was out of the sake of love. Like, I didn't want to make that person feel awful.
So instead, you just took all the bullshit inside. I hope you never do that again.
Yeah, it's been difficult getting past.
Yeah. What do you think is going to get you through it?
Honestly, I've been doing a lot of self-reflection and just kind of discussing all of the moments that happened in Denver.
When you say self-reflection, what are you doing?
I don't want to say that I meditate because my ADHD is way too terrible to actually properly meditate.
You're trying to meditate though?
I try. Never goes well. But no, I just relive the situation and go, okay, like, I have to learn to accept my place in it. Like,
ooh, yeah, that's heavy.
There's obviously in each relationship, be it a friendship, be it a relationship, coworker, like whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone has a part to the story.
100%.
So understanding my impact on the story and understanding the impact of someone else's mentality or approach to it, I have to accept that it is the past and you can't fix it or you can't change it.
Man, they say in the 12-step program, for those who don't know what that is, that's Alcoholics Anonymous, and I'm sure quite a few people know what that means, the AA program, NA program, or whatever. They say you got to accept the things you cannot change. And you kind of gloss over that until you hit an age, or I wouldn't even say an age, until you hit a point in your life where you're mature enough to understand what that means. I wake up every day just saying to myself, you know what? I cannot let this thing or that person or this situation dictate who I am today and how it makes me feel. Now, does that mean that it's not going to piss me off or I'm not going to get upset? Absolutely not. Yeah, I get pissed, I get upset, I get sad, I get emotional. I still have a lot of shit here inside that I still haven't externalized or whatever that word is or let go of. That's why I'm doing all the shit that I do. That's why I do all the programs for the youth and the mentorship. And that's a huge reason why I started this whole podcast, is because there's still shit in me that I've never let out, that I've, even with my counselors through addiction and all that stuff. So I hope this conversation brings a little bit of healing to you, man. I really do.
No, and that's always something that I've tried to kind of impart on you is like, our feelings are natural.
Yeah.
Like, does it suck to get angry? Does it suck to feel hurt?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, it does.
Of course.
But the only way that we can grow from it is acceptance, understanding why we feel that way.
Yeah.
And moving on from it. The more we push it down, the worse it gets. And then we just fester and become miserable.
I've definitely learned a lot more from you than you probably ever thought I did, man. And I'll tell you, one of the big things is understanding, like you just said, it's okay to feel those emotions for so many years, especially when I dipped from Mesquite and I was like, you know what? The family's going to shit. My cousin just OD'd and died. My family's beating each other up. Like, they're splitting up. The house looks like a tornado came through it. Like, fuck everything and run. You know what I mean? I forever pushed all that shit down. And it wasn't until I got myself into such a deep hole and such bad trouble with in and out of jail and drugs and alcohol. And then I went through counseling in my sobriety. It wasn't until my counselor told me, if you don't like where you're standing, move. You know, and I've repeated that thing 100 different times to 100 different people because it means so much to me, dude. And now, man, if I'm not comfortable where I'm at, I'm fucking out, dude. And it's not that I'm running from the problem. I'm just aware now of my surroundings, and I know that I don't belong in that spot. You know what I mean?
No, and that's one thing that you have told me that stuck with me and that I've repeated to other people. Because, you know, it's not even a physical, if you don't like where you're standing, it's also a mental thing.
Oh, absolutely.
So, like, if I don't like how I'm being treated, you know, am I going to sit there and, you know, take it? Or am I going to do something about it? And I've had to kind of get to a point where even if it is uncomfortable, like, you have to vocalize that. Yeah. Otherwise, people will continue to take advantage of you or treat you poorly, and no one deserves that. Like, we're all humans.
Yeah, and you shouldn't take the shit like that anyways.
Yeah.
Not after all the shit that we took in our life, man. Well, dude, I think we've only touched the tip of the iceberg on some of this stuff, but I hope that sitting in this room together it's been cool for me because we talk all the time. We bullshit. We send each other stupid memes, stupid this. We go to shows together. We go to lunch, dinner, whatever. I think this might be the first time we've ever sat down and had a serious conversation.
No, we've definitely...
about stuff like this.
We've never really done that. I've always felt like I was more of the open, like, let's talk about our feelings, and you're more like, let me shoot some shit.
Yeah, you're definitely right, man. You know, and I'm still not that soft guy. I mean, you ask anybody who knows me, they know, like, there's a Grand Canyon between the people who like me and hate me, and I'm fucking totally okay with it. I am who I am. I'm not going to change at this point. I'm fucking 44 years old almost. So, but I do work on, like, in my marriage, I've had to talk to my wife. Like, you have to talk in a marriage to get through things, you know, and my wife has been with me when no one else was, dude. So I still learn every single day how to be a good brother, how to be a good husband, a good father, friend. Talking through things with friends and mentors, people that are around you truly helps. You know, Ken and I went to see Silent Planet last night. Amazing band, metal band, but the guy who's a singer in that band has some great messages in his music. And he stopped the entire crowd last night before one of the songs he said that was kind of the premise of like suicide or hurting yourself and stuff like that. And he said, dude, you got to talk to people. So that message isn't just from me or from Brandon. Like that message is universal. Like, if you have issues, just pick the phone up and call somebody, you know? And if that person doesn't answer, pick the phone up and call another person. Your life matters for sure.
No, and that's something that's always been very close to my heart because, like, I've dealt with suicidal thoughts since I was in elementary school.
Yeah.
You know, our family was never very loving.
No.
I always felt out of place.
They said the word "I love you" a lot, but it didn't feel like it was true.
Empty.
Yeah, it was a blank canvas.
So like when COVID hit, I started streaming on Twitch, and like all of my proceeds went to mental health because I don't want someone to feel the way that I do. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not fun. It sucks to feel empty. It sucks to feel worthless. And I don't want anyone else to feel that way.
It's hard to be, it feels difficult to bear the weight of that cross. You're never going to be able to fix that, but you can be an example of fixing that. Like, I think today there's going to be some people that get some good messages from the wells in your eyes right now and the voice that's coming out of your mouth and out of your face to say, yo, dude, I fucking feel like that too, man. You know what I mean? So I think talking through things like this and being involved with other people that can help other people, that's how you make a difference.
No, and that's what I tried to do when I was streaming because, again, like, I know what it's like to grow up essentially alone and isolated.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to not have someone that you can rely on to be there when you need it. So even though it's a detriment to me sometimes, like I go out of my way to make sure that people know that they're not alone.
Yeah.
You know, I might not have the emotional bandwidth to be there for them, but I will still try because I know what it's like to struggle and to try to end your life and not feel like anyone's around.
Yeah, that's a tough one, man. I remember, the whole suicide thing, our own father trying to do that on multiple occasions, man. And I think I became very jaded to the subject of suicide after seeing like his maybe third or fourth attempt where I walked into, I remember this, I have a shitty memory. I did a lot of drugs, but I remember this like it was yesterday. Papa took me to the hospital where Dad was at, and I didn't even he was outside sitting in a wheelchair. So I didn't even go into the hospital, but Papa walked me up and Dad was sitting right there, and dude, he was like in a vegetative state outside. And I thought to myself, what a piece of shit. What a piece of shit to try to do this, to take yourself away from us. How selfish can you be? So for years, and honestly, Brandon, right now, I still feel very much like fuck that person if they try that, because of the pain that it inflicted on me. But as I grow and as I mature, I also say, damn, what state does a person have to be in to say, fuck it, I'm going to end it all and not care about anybody else in their life? That's a tough situation. I can't fathom it. I don't know. I've never been there.
It's not fun. I wish that I could properly convey it, but
It's probably tough.
it's very tough. Even with like Silent Planet, the guy talks about depression, anxiety, things like that.
Yeah.
It's still hard for me to hear it and discuss it because 20 years later.
Yeah, but you've never released this to anybody. Maybe a counselor, but where's the substance in that, right? Is that a person who really truly connects with you, or is that just a dude sitting on the other side with a pen and paper going, yeah, that sucks, dude. Yeah, that sucks, dude. Try this yoga, try this bullshit,
No, I was very open and honest about it when I was streaming on Twitch.
Did you get some value out of the counselors though that you saw?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, you did? Okay.
There were some sessions where I felt like, oh, cool, I just paid money for someone to be like, oh,
that
okay.
sucks.
Like, we'll meet again next week.
Yeah, see, that's
cool,
my
thanks.
concern with it.
But there were other sessions where, like, when I went to a psychiatrist, the woman that I went to actually sent me to get blood work done.
Now, psychiatrist is the one that can prescribe you medications. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so my therapist was just to work through, like, all of the bullshit that we went through. Yeah. All the years of trauma. Mm-hmm. But it was so bad that I needed a psychiatrist to prescribe, like, ADHD medicine, anxiety, like, all of the above.
Yeah, she probably sat with you for an hour and was like, this motherfucker needs to go see that one.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I've been diagnosed with ADHD, PTSD, OCD, and like whatever alphabets you want to throw at the board at this point.
Yeah, throw the soup at it, right?
But anyone that's actively depressed or needing to work on something, I would vastly say go get therapy. Like,
speak
it sucks.
To somebody.
Yeah, it sucks to sit there and like getting my diagnosis for ADHD, OCD, PTSD was horrible.
It's like a kick in the nuts, probably, huh?
Yeah, it felt like I essentially failed in life.
No, you didn't fail. Others failed you.
No, but at the moment where they gave me that diagnosis, I was like, great, I'm not normal, which...
I feel less than.
Yeah. I mean, I've always felt different. And, now I at least know why. So as much as it hurts
Pretty apparent.
Like, be diagnosed, whether it be autism, ADHD, like, bipolar, it's been helpful to me because I can catch those things when they start occurring and go, oh, okay, I know that, I'm having a panic attack.
You could see the signs coming.
Yeah. And then, so like when we went to see Lorna Shore and I started having a panic attack, I would go outside and try to cool down.
Yeah.
And then it just became so overwhelming that, I unfortunately missed Lorna Shore.
I know you split that show. Yeah.
Yeah. And that sucked for me, but that was right after I moved back from Denver. Mm-hmm. So like my mental state was dog shit.
Yeah. Man, do you feel like as the days progress and you're now in what I like to call a battle rhythm, do you feel like you're now more in control of your emotions?
It depends on the day.
It does, yeah.
Every day is a challenge, like be it
Kind of seasonal in the way you think.
during winter, or the colder months when it gets darker, gloomier, like that's
Yeah.
definitely more of when my depression shows its face.
Do you feel like you allow that to depression to take control? Or do you feel like now you're more in control of like, hey, I see it. Hold up. Let me fight back on it a little.
So I can typically keep it under control for the most part.
And with no medication, right?
No medication. I mean, I do, smoke nightly to
Okay.
help me sleep.
Yeah, that's all right.
But outside of that, I've dropped all of my antidepressants, my anti-anxiety.
Well, you lost weight. You look
Yeah.
healthier.
I dropped 40 pounds.
Yeah, your eyes don't look sunken in anymore,
Yeah.
which is crazy to me because when I know tons of veterans where the VA just goes, pop this pill, pop this pill, pop this pill, pop this pill. And now you look on their fucking counter and there's like 16 prescriptions, yet there's no fix. They're just like, pop this shit in your mouth and just suppress your emotions, suppress your voice, suppress your whatever it may be, and guys are killing themselves like it's fucking going out of style.
No, it's truly a Band-Aid. Like, I'm not going to say that anti-anxiety meds or antidepressant meds, they don't help. They do.
For some, but it's a chemical mixture of your own DNA.
A lot of it comes from also having that desire to fight through it.
Absolutely.
Like, I could have ended my life more times than I can count.
Yeah.
But I'm a stubborn son of a bitch.
Thank God you didn't, dude.
And I guess my introspective nature is to go, why am I feeling this way? And when I was taking my medication, like I just felt like a zombie.
You were a zombie, dude.
Yeah.
You were totally a zombie.
Like I was just going through the motions, getting through the day just to go back to sleep, to wake up and do it all over again.
What a shitty feeling, man.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, there are still some days now where I'm in the same boat. Like I wake up, I dread going to work, I'll get through work, and then I watch TV, go to sleep, do it all over again.
I think that's most people in the world that, you can see say or see whatever you want in social media, the land of the fake. But dude, at the end of the day, that's a highlight reel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And no one's perfect. Everyone struggles. That's the whole purpose of this. That's where I got this whole thought about this podcast was the battle between your ears is the worst battle you can deal with. The physical battles, yes, they're traumatic and they hurt and they can kill a person. But the shit that people deal with in their head is the most traumatic shit you can deal with, dude. And if you don't speak to people about it, you don't get it out, it could kill you, literally.
No, and I think the hardest part about speaking out and speaking up is that most people will downplay it. Like,
it's because they've never been through it.
Exactly. Like, no one's been through, I mean, other people have been through what we've been through. But
probably a small percentage, bro. We've been through some shit.
Yeah, like my hand hurts because dad broke every knuckle in my hand.
Yeah.
And I live with that every day.
Constant reminder, huh?
I can't openly talk to people about that because they're going to be like, oh, cool. Like, I'm sorry.
They don't relate to it.
Yeah. And I mean, more often than not, when I am listening to someone else that's struggling, I'm not trying to find a fix for them. Like, one thing that I do really well at work is like all of my escalations. I'll deal with government escalations and, dealing with CEOs that are throwing a fuck ton of money around that have every right to be upset.
Yeah.
I'm not the smartest person in the room, but more often than not, people get pissed off or lash out because they don't feel like they're heard or understood. So I'll get on these calls, be it with a friend or with a coworker or an escalation, and just listen. And
there's power in it for sure.
Yeah, most of these people just want to vent. They're not trying to find some magical Disneyland experience of a fix. They're just like, I want to be seen, I want to be heard.
Yeah.
And
honestly,
that people struggle with is they're like, I don't want to listen to this because A, I can't relate, and B, I don't know how to fix it. Just listen.
Or people listen to respond.
Yeah.
Instead of actually listening when that's all sometimes what people, a person needs. So, man, I'm glad we got a chance to sit down and do this. It's hard to even feel like we covered
We didn't.
much of our childhood here. It's insane, but Brandon, again, thanks for coming on, dude. I think we have some more sessions here that we want to unpack and some things that we can talk about. I think you sharing your story and some of the things that you've gone through helped me understand a little bit more about you, as well as hopefully to our audience as well and the listeners. So stay tuned for more. There's a lot more to unpack here.